Question number 3, Mark Ruskell.
Thank you. To ask the First Minister how the Scottish Government will recommit to the leadership needed to tackle the climate emergency.
First Minister.
We will, and absolutely this Government will lead on that. As set out in the policy perspective, I am absolutely committed to tackling the climate emergency urgently and fairly. This week we published our response to the Climate Change Committee's annual report, accepting 98 of their 99 recommendations, with the other one being fully reserved. While it is of course disappointing that we've missed the 2021 greenhouse gas emission target so narrowly, it does demonstrate that we're not far behind where those world-leading targets dictate that we should be. And our draft climate change plan that will be published in November this year will lay out how we will reduce emissions to meet future targets. We'll also deepen our global leadership on international climate justice, pushing for bold action across the world, advocating the human rights of those most impacted by climate change, and supporting vulnerable communities through a climate justice fund.
Mark Ruskell.
Can I thank the First Minister for that considered answer? There is, of course, a consensus for deeper, more far-reaching action on the climate emergency. Scientists, campaigners, communities on the front line are demanding it, and the public mood is shifting. And most MSPs in this chamber, apart from, of course, the extremist and increasingly climate-denying Tories, know what must be done. Yet too often when action is proposed, it gets drowned out by naysayers, defenders of business as usual, and those content with watching the planet burn. Time is running out. So will the First Minister commit to a climate conversation later this year, bringing together those focused on action to speed up the journey to a greener, fairer future?
First Minister.
Well, we are committed to doing more than that. I'm more than happy to take a consideration away for a climate conversation or convention to bring the appropriate stakeholders together, because we know for the good of our planet we have to go faster, we have to put more urgency and pace behind the action that we are taking. And that is why, of course, the Scottish Government has an enviable track record in making sure that we invest in our just transition. It's why we have an enviable record when it comes to ensuring that we unleash the potential of the green economy. But Mark Ruskell is absolutely right that every time the Scottish Government bring forward proposals to tackle the climate emergency, there are far too many across this chamber, but particularly in the Conservative Party, who oppose our actions time and time and time again. So we'll continue with our commitment to that just transition to net zero, with that unwavering £500 million fund. And I'm more than happy, as I say, to commit to a meeting, to a conversation, to a convention ahead of COP28 to discuss what more we can do to meet our climate ambitions. But it's so important that we don't just talk the talk, but when the Scottish Government brings forward important interventions, that they're not opposed time and time again by the climate-denying Conservative Party.